I think I'm taking this a little personal on trying to help this fight for this. Even though I'm not in practice anymore, I want to make sure that chiropractic physicians, they are doctors. In our state particularly, we're primary healthcare providers. We have a lot more education than the average medical doctor on nutrition and stuff. And I want to make sure we don't miss the mark on a tool that we can use to help our patients. All right, Dr. Jay Shellen here with the Whiplash Group. You notice this banner behind me because I am interviewing Dr. Tracy Gibb, PhD, he's helped formulate and he's helped make these amazing oral peptides that aren't just oral peptides that we digest. And then of course they just turn into chicken. They just turn into proteins in our stomachs and they aren't as powerful. These are actually absorbed through the
oral mucosa because our strips actually stick to your palate, so it's not buccal.
Okay, gotcha. Great.
Yeah.
So, but then they're absorbed directly into the bloodstream almost instantly. No shots, no injections, which then puts them in the classification of a supplement rather than a drug, which is he's going to talk about today, which then opens the scope of who can actually help share these with the public. So kind of run us through peptides, what they are, your company, and this unique structure you guys have. Then let's talk about some legalities, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I mean, peptides are simple or complex amino acid chains, depending on the peptide. They're what your body produces once you consume protein. Whether that protein is a whey protein or a bean or legume protein, they're broken down. Those proteins are broken down into amino acids and or amino acid chains, eventually getting into the body where your body then rebuilds those basic amino acids like glutamine, arginine, tyrosine, et cetera, into, well, some are used for muscle building, some are command molecules, which are typically the peptides like glutathione, BPC 157, things like that. And they interlock with specific cells and are command molecules. They tell your body to do certain things. And so, I mean, they've been common in the dietary supplement industry for a very, very long time. For example, glutathione. Glutathione's been sold as a dietary supplement for, I don't know, 55 some odd years now. And glutathione is a peptide. Collagen peptides, like over a $4 billion industry in the US right now, are peptides from collagen. GMI actually has GMI, Ganoderma microsporum immunomodulatory peptide. All sorts of research on that now. It originated, I think the researcher originally wanted it to be a drug. So he did all of these cancer studies and long COVID studies during COVID, how it reduces the cytokine storm, modulates the immune function similar to thymosin alpha-1, another peptide. But then he decided to go the dietary supplement route and got a letter from the FDA approving GMI as a dietary supplement ingredient. And it's been sold for 5 years now as a dietary supplement. So, yeah, that's been our experience with peptides. And now there's a whole slew of peptides that are unclassified or uncategorized right now.
Well, I noticed we can see some like those peptides you're talking about. I've seen them at Costco and see them at the grocery store. And then I hear talking to some people, there's like this gray area peptides, these, I don't know what the black area peptide, different peptides are made in different type settings that are their labeling is for experimental stuff and selling them to the population directly, which I think is kind of scary, or they're actually quality injectables. And then yours is a whole different animal.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I think what the FDA is mainly targeting right now, of course, is the GLPs, just because it literally is a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, there's an oral GLP. Man, I had the name written down here, Rebuside or something like that. They've done $22 billion on a peptide tablet. So orally ingested GLP-1, similar to Ozempic, but Ozempic is injected. And the tablet section, which is the least used, did $22 billion last year. So, I mean, that's the injectables probably 10 times that. I mean, it's a huge industry. And so I believe that's where the drug companies with their lobby are petitioning the FDA saying, hey, these guys are injecting it. We need to regulate that because only certain people have licenses to inject.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, number one, the government's been really slow to move on it. It's a peptide. There's zero side effects when you take a peptide. The side effects that could happen are because of the function of that peptide, perhaps. So, for example, GLPs, Ozempic. When people when they lose their appetite, they stop eating. If they stop eating, they start losing muscle mass. And if
Right.
they continue that for a long period of time and don't change or adapt their lifestyle to ingest more protein, to exercise so that they don't lose muscle mass, that's a side effect of poor eating habits, not a side effect of the GLP. The
Right.
GL, literally the injection has no side effects at all, unless you have an infection around the injection site or an allergic reaction around the injection site. Those are really the only side effects for GLPs. But peptides in and of themselves are literally just amino acid chains. There's no side effects unless you
Right.
have an allergic reaction. So
Right.
which, you could get with a peanut allergy.
For sure. But
Um,
it seems like peptides, we make them ourselves. They're totally
mhm.
natural.
Yeah.
Like you said, they help as a stimulating molecule to help direct the body to do something, or they're
Yeah.
just building blocks for proteins for the body to build or heal things.
Yeah.
That's what, yeah, it seems like that BP 157 is so good for gut health, and which is great after somebody takes those injectables. Like if they're going and seeing their medical doctor and they're doing these GLP-1s and stuff, and they're losing muscle mass, or they're maybe even damaging their digestive tract, it seems like a really great helpful molecule to help reverse that or to help sustain better muscle masses. I don't know.
Yeah.
You
I
tell me
mean,
you're the
that's
pro.
where they actually discovered BPC 157 in the human gut. Just after the duodenum in the first 6 or 7 inches, your body manufactures BPC 157 naturally, just like it manufactures acid, hydrochloric
Mm-hmm.
acid. And hydrochloric acid in a tablet and capsule, of course, is a dietary supplement.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it's part of your digestive system, I guess.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, I think where all the controversy is happening right now in the industry is the division among oral peptides and injectable peptides, and then the attention it's getting just because of the sheer multi-billion-dollar industry that it's become
Yeah.
right now. And of course, you've got pharma who wants to regulate that, but then you've got the DSHEA, the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act lobby, who says, "What do you mean? We've been selling peptides for years. How can you regulate us now? There's no side effects. There's no contraindications with peptides.
Mm-hmm.
So why regulate it?" And I think that's why RFK, as we know, the Biden administration just did a broad sweep saying, hey, everything's category 2.
Mm-hmm.
And even the pharma companies threw up their arms saying, you can't do that to us.
Yeah.
We've got peptides that we're selling in the supplement industry too, like glutathione.
Yeah.
And now, just 2 weeks ago, they took a step back and they removed them all from category 2.
Okay.
So there's no regulation on them right now. But RFK said, we're going to review each one from an independent ingredient standpoint and using an independent pharmacology board,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll make decisions after that. And you know how quickly the government makes decisions.
Yeah.
It could be years in.
Yeah. Well, I feel good about that. It seems like RFK is
Mhm.
getting things done in a pretty quick fashion. There was a really neat
Yeah.
meeting out there that a lot of leaders in the chiropractic profession went out there, and they just made really good connections with the MAHA movement. And that's where I heard that they were going to start breaking down and independently looking at these peptides and trying to go, okay, let's regulate this a little more logically. What needs to
Yeah.
stay in that medical model, and what is open to other practitioners? In Utah, we're chiropractic physicians, we're primary healthcare providers. We're very versed in nutritional supplements
Yeah.
and how to help aid with functional medicine, help our patients. And I know it's the same in many other states. Some states are very
Mhm.
regulated. Washington State, super regulated on what chiropractors can do.
Mhm.
But Utah and many other states, I know that chiropractors, naturopaths, and we were even talking earlier, health spas and
Yeah.
stuff are allowed to promote these kind of things. So I'm like, what is the hiccup that we're having right now
Mhm.
on utilizing these very powerful and natural tools to help our patients help themselves naturally? Did you say
Yeah.
there were some laws passed, or you had something from a lawyer that had passed laws on this?
Yeah, so Beck Strand and Associates, a big Southern California law firm, and it wasn't a law, it was an opinion letter. I mean, so
Okay.
when we started this company, we wanted to be completely above board. I mean, we're a pharmaceutical company, we're licensed as a 503A compound pharmacy.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we also have been manufacturing dietary supplements for years. I mean, we've got 8 production lines, we do millions of doses
Mm-hmm.
every month and sell to dietary supplement companies all over the world. But when we're dealing with peptides, we're like, hey, we should probably get a legal opinion as to what we can and can't do first. So we sought out this law firm because they're notorious for like suing companies that violate Prop 65 regulations, being a Southern California firm.
Mm-hmm.
They sue companies who breach the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act by making claims on their products. So we just reached out to them and said, hey, can we sell peptides as dietary supplement? And they wrote us a 2-page long letter saying, pretty much in summary, absolutely you can. They're amino acid chains. Amino acids have been recognized as a long time as dietary supplements, as long as you follow DSHEA regulations. Another one, they're orally ingested. Number two, you make no structure function claims on your packaging or marketing. So it's not like we can say, oh, take BPC 157 for pain. Can't say that. But we can say BPC 157 helps support healthy inflammation markers in the body. We can say BPC 157 supports healthy joint function. As long as you are not correcting a disorder or disease, you fall under the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act. Now, injections are totally different because self-injections are fine. And that's where you see all of the gray areas in the peptide world out there. You see all of these companies saying, order from us, we'll mail you your peptide. To me, that's crazy dangerous because then you've got people who don't know how to mix the vials. They don't know how to draw it out there. They don't know where to inject themselves. There's no training with that whatsoever. And you know for a fact they're not throwing away those needles in a biohazard waste container. They're just chucking them in the garbage. I had one guy lift up his shirt and say, oh, I love peptides. And he had like 8 freaking holes in him. He was taking 8 different injections a day. He looked like a living pincushion. That can't be healthy. I mean, my first thought was like, dude, I hope you're sterilizing your belly every time you do that, and you're not reusing needles. And I think that's where the controversy is happening. And these companies think that they're avoiding liability by saying not for human use. Well, duh, you have a website.
Yeah.
Humans look at websites, humans order off of websites. The FDA is well aware that you're using them on humans, and then they say for research purposes only. Well, what data are you collecting? What research are you doing? No, you're collecting money in your bank account, but you're not getting any data from the patients, So I believe quite strongly that Congress will come back and say injection of peptides falls back into the practitioner's hands. If you got a license to inject, you can sell them. If you don't have a license to inject, you're not going to be able to sell these. And that's where Instamed comes in and says, wait a minute, we're a dissolvable oral film. Now, you mentioned earlier buccal absorption or oral mucosa absorption. As a dietary supplement, we don't claim that in our marketing or in our packaging. We are oral dissolvable films.
Okay.
Now, practitioner to patient, depending, I guess, on your license, you could probably talk about buccal absorption or not. I don't know if chiropractors, you still have to follow dietary supplement laws.
Of course.
You probably won't be able to claim or market the whole oral absorption technology because if you bypass digestion, you are no longer a dietary supplement. You are now a medical device, like the patches. And that's why some patch companies claim, if they're pharmaceutical, claim transdermal absorption.
All right.
While other patch companies don't claim that. I mean, you got a huge patch company in San Diego, LifeWave. They don't, I don't even know what they claim. They're like infrared patches or something like that. They don't claim anything about transdermal absorption. Just like we don't claim transoral mucosa absorption. We just say dissolvable oral strips, similar to like your B12 sublinguals or a lozenge or something like that. It melts in your mouth is what we put on all of our marketing. However, our medical doctors and our nurse practitioners and our naturopathic doctors with their licensing, they can say to the patient, hey, I want you to use these strips for your inflammation because they bypass first pass metabolism and they act quickly and get direct into the bloodstream. They're fine saying that, but we don't put that on our marketing.
All right.
So as a company, Instamed has chosen to completely comply with the Dietary Supplement Health and Education Act to where you see no claims on our marketing and no claim for transmucosal absorption.
All right. Well, I look forward to you sending me that letter, and I'll share that with the powers that be in the different states that are trying to move this forward. I just remember, and I don't want to stick my neck out. I just want to educate and get the right people communicating with each other that we can help serve more patients with natural stuff like this. I think it's powerful.
Yeah.
And I remember in 2011, myself and several chiropractic physicians in our state had to go up and fight on Capitol Hill for the ability to still call ourselves doctor, because the Medical Association in the state was trying to take away where no one could call themselves a doctor, not an eye doctor, not a dentist, not a chiropractic physician, not a naturopath. Only a medical doctor could claim this title doctor, and only a doctor could prescribe nutraceuticals. They were trying to now pigeonhole controlling vitamin C, L-arginine, and all kinds of things. So we had to go fight for that. And so to me, that's why this is, I think I'm taking this a little personal on trying to help this fight for this, even though I'm not in practice anymore. I want to make sure that chiropractic physicians, they are doctors. In our state particularly, we're primary healthcare providers. We have a lot more education than the average medical doctor on nutrition and stuff. And I want to make sure we don't miss the mark on a tool that we can use to help our patients. I think what you've built is just a beautiful system, and it's all good health, good quality. You're a pharmaceutical grade lab that you're making these in. So
our facility is beautiful here. To me, it baffles me that, for example, if they allow injections only, that you're going to have untrained, like esthetician assistants who have the ability to inject Botox are going to be able to give you a PT-141 injection or a glutathione injection or something like that. And yet a doctor of chiropractic can't, dispense a peptide in a tablet or capsule or oral strip, because there are oral swallowed capsules and tablets of peptides out there, which are completely worthless. We know they all get digested in the GI tract. But for the strip and the nasal, where there's no training whatsoever to be able to use one of these, it seems super odd to me that Doppel or something wouldn't allow you guys to do that when you guys are manipulating people's bodies all the time, which I'm sorry, but I've gone in and I sometimes think, man, I hope you guys don't break my neck and paralyze me. I mean, you've got much
really
more
good at what we do.
You've got much more training than what these beauty esthetician assistants have, it's like what, 3 months or so many hours, 100 hours or 90 hours of schooling to be able to inject you.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what it is because I don't do that. So, but I know I've spent 8 years and countless hours adjusting the spine and the nervous system. So, and studying nutrition. I mean, even after we graduate, we have to do so much continuing education. And a lot of those continuing education hours are spent on nutrition. So, well, I want to thank you for your time. Is there any closing comments you have on helping us help spread the word across the country?
To me, and this is just my honest opinion, there's no better person to talk about peptides and health than chiropractors and nutritionists for that matter, especially with what you guys do. I mean, people come to see you for pain management, and you've got products like BPC 157, GHK, PT 141, CJC, again, amino acid chains, which are perfect for staving off inflammation, reactivating the immune system, assisting in neurotransmitter processes and communication signals and redox pathways, stuff that you guys talk about all the time when it comes to nutrition. Because it's not just about cracking your back or cracking your neck, it's whole body care. And whole body care literally starts with your diet. And if your diet is lacking specific amino acids, peptides are the answer to some of those things. I think you would be an awesome frontline defender for the use of peptides. And, you don't have licenses to inject, but that's where Instamed comes in. They're troche companies doing buccal absorption of peptides. Again, perfectly normal to do that. Nasal inhalation of peptides. We use the oral strip. I think all of those delivery mechanisms are awesome, except capsules, which we know is throwing your money down the toilet if you do that.
Right, with peptides for sure. Well, I look at this, and to me, I look at this in the comparison to me as like, all right, I can prescribe high-dose vitamin C and vitamin D and all these other things. I can recommend those for patients, and that's fine. But I can't do a bag of injectable vitamins for a patient. They have to go to somebody else to do that. Great. They're still getting vitamins. They're still getting nutritional supplements, but just in a different delivery mechanism. There's what is in my scope and there's what's not in my scope. And that's what I hope that we can help people understand with our discussion today. And again, I hope I'm not painting a target on my back by trying to discuss topics like this with you and with others. I just think logically it makes sense. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But from our discussion today, it just seems simply logical that we would be a good front line for you for that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Shelton, for fighting the cause, because I think it is a cause that needs to be fought. I need to use more logic in our politics and in our laws. And that's something I think that a lot of regulatory bodies have lost is the logic.
Yeah.
Why do you make laws? Do no harm.
Mm-hmm.
No way you can harm anybody with a peptide. Can you harm someone with a needle and injection? Yeah, if you do it wrong. And so I think there should be a specific amount of training for that. But to give somebody a capsule or powder or tablet or what of a natural substance that your body's going to know what to do with, that has safety studies at 30, 40, 50 times the recommended dosage and still no liver effects, no kidney effects, the safety studies on peptides, there's zero side effects at any dose because you're basically consuming proteins, you know?
Yeah.
It should
Thank
be.
you, Dr. Gibb. I appreciate just the clarity that you've given us today. And I hope this helps not only our state, but other states in opening the doorways to helping chiropractors give better nutrition to their patients to help serve them naturally. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.